So welcome, our beloved brother Michael. And as always at Set C, we begin all things by giving thanks and acknowledging our Creator. We acknowledge all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Michael, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Please, thank you very much for having me today, Victor. It's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Michael Asiama. I'm the CEO and founder of Support and Growth. A big part of the work that I've been doing is with regards to mental health work. I've worked in various capacities at different levels in different organizations, really looking at the delivery of mental health and the well-being of individuals within our community. I specialize in the provision of culturally responsive mental health and wellness services, something that is of great needs in the community. My journey that led me here is really just working and also growing up in a community that really struggled to gain access to mental health support. It is through that my passion really and focus went into looking at developing a platform that would look at gaining and being able to deliver greater accessibility to mental health and wellness supports in the community. Previous to being full-time with my organization, which is Support and Growth, I was working in various levels in the education system, recently leaving as the chief of mental health in the Halton Catholic District School Board, where a lot of my experiences were able to look at strategy development, really looking at working during a very difficult time, COVID, and then being able to transfer some of those high-level delivery skills to our current practice that we have here, our company that specializes in delivering mental health and wellness support. We're the first Black EAP company in Canada, first Black-led EAP company. So the work that we do is very specialized, and it looks at prioritizing the needs of our community that for a long time has not been able to access services that allow them to feel seen, heard, and just even be able to access the services without, from an affordability standpoint. We do a great job at really looking and partnering up with other organizations that are looking to amplify this work. And so I'm very glad to be here to share more about the work that I'm doing.
That's absolutely incredible. Congratulations, my brother, on the remarkable work that you're doing for so many. So my next question, what's inspiring you right now about your work? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at nights?
You know what? What's inspiring me is really as much work that is being done in the community right now. When you look at the delivery of mental health services, there's still a long way to go. The wait list continue to be very long. Affordability continues to be very something that is still very privileged to be able to gain access to mental health services. And so those are things that are keeping me up, looking at ways where we could deliver services, quality, comprehensive mental health services, and do it in an affordable way so that everybody can gain access to it. So that, as long as that continues to be a challenge, we're looking at how we can make mental health attainable for everybody. Currently, right now, we know that is not something. There's still a lot of issues within the community, a lot of barriers when it comes to mental health services. So that's what's keeping me up. That's what's keeping me inspired, looking at how we could start mental health intervention, mental health prevention, preventative work earlier, so that we could work at some of the stigmas that exist in our community also, so that we could be able to be more proactive when it comes to dealing and supporting mental health issues at all levels and in all institutions.
Incredible. So my next question, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work, and what are some of the approaches you and your colleagues are taking to overcome some of these challenges and barriers?
Challenges, they come in various forms, but the first thing is, of course, being able to, we have a lot of different providers that we work with, a lot of different organizations. So really being able to, create a service that is able to almost fit the needs of all of our vendors, all of our partners, so that takes a lot of skill, takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of creativity. That's the innovative part of the work, looking at being able to look at needs and come up with creative strategies. So as much as those are challenges, those are also areas of strength for us as an organization that we use to further always recreate ourselves and find ways to kind of improve our services. So I think that has been a big challenge, because everybody that we work with is different, has different levels of capacity. So, and we know funding issues are a big issue within our community. So it's like we're trying to deliver the best quality service sometimes with limited funding. So a challenge is just trying to find a way to stretch our work so that, each and every person that we work with, the work is not abandoned halfway through. And so sometimes that's what happens because of funding issues, and these are very real issues when you go on the service provider sector side of things, right? So it's just finding ways to continue to be able to deliver the work continuously, so that we're not a pop-up program. A lot of services that happen, especially in our communities, they show up as a pop-up, and then tomorrow the sessions are gone, and then you still have clients calling. So trying to create something that is sustainable, so that something that's important as mental health services doesn't just appear as a pop-up during Black History Month or during Mental Health Awareness Month or Bell Let's Talk Month, something that is sustainable. That's the biggest challenge. That's a bigger challenge. And working, to meet the increasing demands for mental health issues. So it's become a big, big, big challenge that we're working very closely with all our community partners, and always develop a new relationship that allow us to once again be able to meet the needs, and so that our high priority clients, clients that need ongoing support, they're both equally supported in the most optimal way possible.
Incredible. So do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work? I know that you spoke of some of them, but are there some key priorities that you'd like to share or amplify to our community of practice?
Our key priority right now is looking at how we could create greater accessibility. There's a lot of barriers when it comes to accessing mental health support, from cost, affordability, just the ease of use of systems, being able to find the right therapist. A lot of our communities moving to more remote areas, and that becomes a challenge to be able to find quality, comprehensive care. So for us, a big priority is just accessibility. How do we continue to work so that we could continue to also not only move and grow with our clients, but we could follow them on their journey. So that's a huge priority that's keeping us up. And then the sustainability, finding resources to allow for our programs to be sustainable, so that individuals are able to get the support, not when they're in crisis, meaning that they have to go to an emergency room or seek, crisis counseling, but early preventative services, so that this becomes something that is available for all individuals at an earlier stage of their life.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So how do you feel about the future of mental health services in the Black community in Canada? Are you pessimistic? Are you optimistic? Are you hopeful?
I'm very hopeful. I'm very optimistic. I think right now one of the most popular programs that we're seeing, a new trend is, a lot of, racialized professionals, Black professionals, or students coming up are going into mental health work. Seeing a lot of it, being in the industry, I'm seeing a huge trend of people choosing mental health as a career. So I'm very hopeful that the next generation is going to be filled with a lot more professionals than they are now. And I'm hoping that with that increase in service providers, we're able to provide greater accessibility for our growing need. As you know, Canada's Black population, we're very young. So we have a huge growth ahead of us. And so I'm hoping that the next generation, then more people choosing this path as a career. And not to say other professions are not important, but we know that mental health, some would say that mental health is bigger than cancer right now. So there's a huge priority on all of us, right, to look at how we could work and provide the necessary capacity that is there to do the work. So I'm very, very hopeful, because I know a lot of individuals are reaching out to me just for mentorship, just telling me about how inspired they are to pursue a career. This is totally different, because when I was coming up in high school, that wasn't even something I was spoken of. Going into social work, going into psychotherapy, being a psychologist, it wasn't a priority. But now I think more and more we're getting, there's a lot, we're normalizing it, which is great.
Incredible, incredible. So my second last question, what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
My ultimate goal, I grew up at a time where if you mentioned that you were doing therapy, individuals will look at you differently. And it was not necessarily from a place of strength, but rather weakness. My ultimate goal is that we could all work together to, chip at this stigma that exists in the community. Therapy is a place for everyone to be able to, access the necessary supports that they need to continue on through life. Just as important as physical health is, mental health is also equally important. So I hope that through my work and the work of many individuals that are doing this work now, that we could work at this stigma collectively, and as a whole, be able to create a better future for the next generation coming up, so that we could all live a mentally well life.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. Yes, my brother. So my last question, Do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
You know what? I know there's a lot of great work being done in the community by leaders like yourself, a lot of other great leaders in our community. I'm really hoping that mental health continues to be a priority and we find ways to bring organizations together so that we could, create better pool of resources. I think collectively we could definitely work at, being at a place where there is no wait list for services in our community, and we could work together so that the next generation that is coming up, mental health is a priority, and we could actually eliminate, the long wait list that exists in the community, or just the stigma. It's heartbreaking. A lot of the challenges that I have to deal with in my line of work, a lot of challenges that I believe, especially working in the education system, you see where it starts. I hope that we could work together so that the early intervention could be a huge priority, and early prevention, and so that mental health is a topic that all homes, all institutions are talking about collectively. Shouldn't be one, talking about it, but we all have a consistent message around the priority, and so that this next generation coming up, they could be very much well and stable. Because we lose a lot of talent to mental health, a lot of talent, if you look at just the statistics, how much individuals, in Canada, disability, all these different things, right? I think we could work together to lower this, the statistics around how much individuals are on mental health, are on disability because of mental health, by providing more resources earlier and helping individuals, live a more fulfilling and complete life. I think that's something that I hope that we could all work towards.
Merasi Papa. Thank you so much for your incredible leadership, wisdom, all the actionable insights, and the work that you're doing on the ground for so many around mental health and mental well-being across Canada. I so appreciate your consistent leadership, diligence, and solidarity, my brother. And as always at SETC, we close the way we began, by giving thanks to our Creator, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, my brother. I so appreciate you.
Thank you very much.